So lots of vibes and victories this past weekend. What a way to end off Women's Month. What a way to start off the new season, spring, with some records being broken. The women Boks are through for the first time in history to the quarterfinals, the playoffs of a World Cup. Incredible scenes. Brazil women as well scoring their first try at a World Cup. It's just been a sensational weekend of so much action. I'm with the Sports Sangoma. We're going and we're talking vibes and victories. Mate, how's it going? Prasens?
Yeah. What's up, Fudge, Mr. Mabeta? How are you, sir? Good to see you on this after a great weekend of sports. Yeah, we've got a lot to get through. Yeah, there's been a lot of movements over the weekend. Obviously, the Boks ladies won and made history there, which absolutely the country should be. We should be having a party, possibly a public holiday for that, because history was made. The state of women's rugby is hot at the moment. Some big results, some big scoring games, but also some historical moments for the likes of Brazil, like you said, and South Africa. And then we've also got EPL, a lot of upsets, a lot of results, some fortunate than others. Obviously, the Gunners fell short yesterday. I'm sure we'll get back to that. And then the Currie Cup. Currie Cup has thrown us in the loop. It's been a hell of a Currie Cup. I think one for the books, definitely for me, just like the Rugby Championships, the Currie Cup probably is going to be one of the best Currie Cups in a while, same as the Rugby Championships coming up this weekend. And then also, if one, same old stuff, Piastri and Norris doing the business. PSL threw up a couple of results for us, and US Open is quite interesting to say the least. A lot of controversy from Taylor Townsend. He got knocked out last night. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, Fudge. Yeah, good to see you again, mate.
Yeah, nice one. Nice one. Yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the big one. Springbok Women. Tight fixture, but we came out the blocks, really firing, and congratulations to them breaking and making history, breaking records, making history. It's actually quite an incredible Women's World Cup as well. Records are being broken just in terms of how it's been organized, the turnout, again, selection and scheduling, I think has been really spot on. And just the spirit of the game and how the teams and management have handled the opportunity. Man, it's goosebump stuff.
Yeah, no, the Women's World Cup was brilliant. I think, like you said, we had a strong start yesterday. It came very close at the end with that, with the Italian team in our 22. And then we had to have that final dropouts that obviously had to, some people may not understand the rules, but the ball had to bounce before it went out, which would have possibly given Italy another chance, another crack at our line. And if they'd scored a try with the conversion, they could have been the winners by 2 points, and our party could have been spoiled. But as you saw, it meant so much to the women, so much was placed to Brain. He's been a masterclass for the women. It looks like a completely different side. And up the Bok woman. And now at least we can chill. We don't have to worry too much because the French are looking very, very strong. But luckily we're through to the next round. And so the next results, kind of doesn't really matter because we'll be going through to the quarterfinals for the first time in our history.
How was that USA Women Australia game as well? First draw, yes. Highest scoring draw in history, 31-all. And that was a tight one because it was pretty much to secure who would go through.
Yeah, so that's also been brilliant. I think most of the pools have been kind of, we can't really say have been kind of mandatory or what we expected, because obviously we're making history for the first time. So I think the other two pools were kind of always going to be quite almost obvious, but obviously England in this pool was quite obvious that they would go through. They've had some big numbers, but that USA-Australia draw makes it unbelievably interesting. To be fair, as much as interesting as it is, USA actually needed that win. But because Australia had to play England, USA can put on the 5 points against Samoa, and then it'll all come down to a points difference. So it's a hell of a points difference that they have to make up USA, because they are already in the rears of, I think, I'd say like 62 odd points because of the clapping that they got from England. But, England could do USA a favor by putting a bun on Australia, and then USA has to do the business by doing what they need to do against Samoa, who are obviously the whipping girls of the group.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. I don't know. I wouldn't call them whipping girls. They've been, it's a baptism of fire for many of the teams. But I watched an interview with their coach, and we got emotional and how much it means for them. It's a step that opens things up and accelerates their development beyond measure. Beyond their wildest dreams. They're literally going to change history, and it's such an important game in those areas. So, man, it's been an amazing thing. Make sure you catch the Women's World Cup. It's going 7 out of the 8 teams have qualified. There is still a big round left, the last round of the pool stages. So make sure you keep your eyes on that one. We'll be sharing some odds, etc. later in the week.
Yeah, and I think, Fudge, on what you just said there, it's been a hell of a blessing, and you can see how Coach Samoa and the players take it. After catching almost a 90-point drubbing from the home team, the spirits after the game amongst those ladies dancing in a circle together, both teams, was unbelievably special. They were showing their traditional dances from Samoa. The English were kind of learning what they do. Everyone is laughing and giggling and having fun. And that's what rugby is all about as a sport in general. I think that shows the spirit of rugby and what rugby can do to mend gaps and mend cultures. And that's why we love the game, and that's why we played the game, and kind of what we miss about the game too. Now that we're all old stalwarts, it's hard to replicate that camaraderie in any other sports. I would say it's just different gravy. You go head to head, you battle each other, and then you have a beer afterwards and you have a dance around. So yeah, kudos to the Rugby World Cup in England. They're hosting a great tournament. The crowds are good, and if you haven't been watching it, you've got to watch.
Yeah, look. Speaking of different gravy, that is, for me, one of the most historic and proudest moments in South African history. You think of the team, the makeup of that team, some of the stories in that women's team, how they actually even started playing the sport. It's only now recently become professional in South Africa. A lot of the talented players get to play either at the Bulls Daisies or go abroad. Your Baba Lachas, your Danelle Lochners. But you still have your players like Apiwe Ngwevu, Aseza, who are playing out of their socks, and for them to be able to basically what's expected of them, reach it and beyond, is just incredible. Eastern Cape, a region that is proud and filled with history in terms of rugby as well. What these women have been doing. Coming out of the Eastern Cape, and the makeup of that team, man, for me, it's one of the big success stories in South African history in terms of transformation, trying to make sure that there's equal opportunities, and when those opportunities come, how the character and the spirit, as you mentioned, rugby, what it allows, the spaces it allows you to go emotionally and spiritually. It's just incredible. What a narrative for the country. So congrats, Women Box.
Yeah, Women Box, and the state of the game is brilliant, I think, worldwide, and this is a great display of that. And up to up England rugby and up women's rugby and women's sports in general.
Yeah, let's not stick too much on those vibes, mate. I know we're trying to avoid the next topic. It's a tough one. EPL results, some odds there as well. Interesting weekend.
What do you want to hear about that, Fudge?
No, well, come on now. There's a big elephant in the room, and I'm not talking about Piwe Nomlomo. We'll talk about the Currie Cup and Piwe Nomlomo's elephant in the room. I loved the interview he had. But straight to it, mate. We love wins. We've got to accept some losses. We are Arsenal, after all. And it was a painful loss. I thought it was a painful loss this past weekend, but quite a few positives. I wasn't too disappointed.
Yeah, look, Fudge, one thing I can say is that, I hate losing, and I was watching with a couple of friends down this side of the world who are Liverpool supporters. Um, and look, there's some losses that you can take, and that's one of them. We played better. Um, Similarly to our Man United win, where they played better than us. I think we dominated the first half. We're pretty even kill on the second half. It's a game that deserved a draw. But wow, what a goal. That free kick is unbelievable. That's already up for contender of goal of the season. That's I have to confess, if there's a way to lose a game and a goal to lose it to, that was the goal. I don't think people understand how hard it is possibly to take a penalty, a free kick from that far out, dead center in the middle of the goal, which means you've only got so much room either way to move. He hit it straight over the wall and hit the left-hand upright pole. That was a ridiculously phenomenal goal, and I'll take a loss. Liverpool deserve those 3 points with such a good goal. What are your thoughts on the game?
As well, Soboslai.
Hey?
He had a good game as well.
Yeah, for sure. What I didn't like, perhaps, is Arteta's maybe game plan. I think he left our playmakers on the bench. I don't know about Mourinho being a attacking midfielder. I think he left Odegaard on the bench. We had Nweri on the bench. We had Eze on the bench. I would have liked to have seen a couple of those guys starting instead of coming off so late, because you could see a kind of a difference when they came on. But
didn't see much of this.
No, he didn't.
What's going on?
He wasn't getting fed too much ball.
What's going on here, man?
He wasn't getting fed too much ball, but I think Martinelli, people are starting to have a problem with him. He's good on the ball, but he doesn't look up. And there were often cases where he outran a player, out-dribbled a player, and when he could release the ball, he didn't. And by the time he looked up, it was too late. So lessons learned. I think that's probably... I haven't felt that good after a loss in a while. Like it was a loss. I hated it. Didn't really like it last night. I wasn't in the best of moods, but I could see the positive signs.
What a free kick! What a free kick! That together with Richie's little Bebeto, backwards scissor kick. Geez, the sports is just in a special place right now, man. I think I don't know if it's the technology or having access to so many different videos, because I know when you're playing as a kid, it adds to the things you can try, so you try things a lot earlier. Who knows? Is it the PlayStation? Is it Xbox? Who knows? But somehow in the world, records are being broken. Amazing result as well. The quickest 100-kilometer run at the Adidas challenge, that 100-kilometer challenge. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. It was brilliant. It was just
hours.
Yeah, it was almost as good as the Brighton upset on Man City, which obviously assists us. That was a bit of a nice upset.
Great EPL. It's setting up to be a very intriguing one. Difficult to call. Brilliant. It's getting more and more difficult every year.
Yeah, there were a couple of lovely upsets over the weekend. Brighton were 3-1 at home, and they won 2-1 against City. West Ham were away to Nottingham. They were 4-1, and they upset Nottingham at home 3-0. And then even Crystal Palace, without Eze, went and upset Aston Villa at home, and they were paying a saucy 5-2, about 2.5, 2.6-1. So those results, make everything okay, put things on an even keel. Makes our loss feel not so bad. With 2 points behind the leaders.
Wins. Oh, you won some bets this past weekend. I can tell, mate.
No, well, I don't mind an upset.
A bit of feathers to fall onto after that Arsenal loss. You're okay.
Yeah, no, I think to be completely honest with you, I did win some, I did lose some. Taylor Townsend lost me some money yesterday. But the rest of the results were quite good. And Man United got through on a sneak there. They should have been with another draw. They celebrated like they won the league. So that was quite interesting to watch too.
That's always entertaining. Things are happening at Man United. There's DJ boxes happening out there. It's buck wild. I'm loving it. It's a very entertaining season, and we're only a couple of rounds in. So,
Yeah.
exciting times. EPL, keep your eyes on that. Some awesome odds as well. Good season for betting. With so many upsets already.
Yeah, I think it's quite an open season. This weekend is international break, so no EPL this weekend. But it's been a lovely little interesting start, and it's definitely made for interesting viewing.
Do you know what there is this weekend? You mentioned it. Let's tuck into it. Let's get into the trenches. It's been trench warfare. It's been some amazing games. I've watched. We've seen some awesome tries, man. It is the Currie Cup, final round, this coming weekend. So many teams are still in it. Elephant in the room. The Vodacom Bulls are kind of still in it. They do need to. A lot needs to happen for them to make it. If they end on 20 points, it'll be points difference, etc., etc. The odds are not in their favor. Let's just put it that way.
I've run the numbers. I think they're done, Fudge.
Really, mate?
Yeah, they're too far behind. They're sitting on 10 points, and the Lions are sitting on 19 points. So with one round left, they can't cover.
No. So I got that wrong, actually. Yeah. So things are looking too.
So that's interesting in itself, right? The top three biggest teams in Currie Cup history are all out. Bulls, Sharks, and Province are all out of the Currie Cup. I think that's brilliant. I think it's good for South African rugby. I think it's good for the development of the smaller unions. And now it's those. Well, to be fair, I'm just trying to figure it out. But anyone can make the top 4 out of those top 5 now, because Griquas are top of the table with 23, and Pumas are on 18 points, which is a 5-point difference, right? So that top 5 can flip completely this coming weekend.
Yeah, 100%. It also comes down to who'll be at home, who'll be away from home. Lovely Western Cape derby. That's going to be juicy. Will there be URC players loaded? That kind of throws a little bit of a spanner in the works. One that I think we're all keen to see as well. It is, it's basically cohesion and consistently playing versus guys who maybe haven't played any rugby in a couple of weeks, maybe months. And so there's always the thing of, on paper it looks good, but can they put together, a combined effort? Because that's what it'll take. There's a very multi-dimensional approach that a lot of the teams are playing. We're seeing interesting kicking games that are quite accurate. The counter-attack rugby is spot on. The transition, taking advantage of opportunities, is great. That's why we're seeing so many yellow cards. I think every single game has had yellow cards in it. Some games, 3 yellow cards or 4 yellow cards. Speaking of the Suzuki Griquas now, geez, I think they've had over 10 yellow cards already, if I'm not mistaken. So, but they're top of the log as well. History, 2 top teams into the last round who look like the favorites. They are the form sides as well. The Boland Cavaliers, Sanlam Boland Cavaliers, and of course the Suzuki Griquas. Toyota Cheetahs are there as well. They got blown out the water this past weekend by the Suzuki Griquas. Pretty crazy. The way they went away from home and started. I just love how it looks strategic. Yes, they did go through a bit of a slump, but even then, it looked like they were trying to defend in a spoiling kind of manner to frustrate the opposition. That's high-level strategies. You see that in international rugby, and they're able to execute. Yes, it's risky because you give away quite a few yellow cards. They won't have the technical ability to be able to execute a game plan like that. Obviously not, but they've got a bit of practice with it now. That is how you win playoffs. I'm really loving how the Suzuki Griquas are looking. Sanlam Boland Cavaliers, on the other hand, they push really well. It's a never say die sort of a thing. They're the dark horses. They play like they have nothing to lose. They never give up. Well conditioned. Again, great recruitment from Harvey's Fourie. He's got the backup. He's got a great management team, recruiting guys like Porter Human, and some very impressive players like Schroeder. And they look really good. They've got a good blend of outside backs. Maybe in their pack, I'm not sure if they can go all the way. I'm looking at the Suzuki Griquas, who are now the second team to beat them. They're the only team to have beaten the Boland Cavaliers before this last round. So and even the way they lost to the Sharks, Siama Suku, hey, that's what the URCP can do. That's what these kind of players can do. So that was a crazy game. Crazy games galore. Can't wait for this coming weekend. We'll chat some odds, etc., around that as well. That's an interesting one. I'd love to see that. But all pressure now on the Lions and the Pumas.
Yeah, Masuku kick was unbelievable. That kind of actually did Krikwas and Cheetahs a favor. Otherwise, Bolans would have gathered those points and gone to the top of the log before next weekend's game. Which then makes the fixtures coming up this weekend hella interesting. Sharks will be playing the Pumas, Province will be playing against the Cavaliers, the Derby. I believe you might be working on that. I think you last told me a week or two ago. Lions against Krikwas at Lions in Joburg, and then Bulls against Cheetahs at Loftus. So it's no easy game, and all the teams that are actually kind of out of it are all playing at home.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's the
first game for some of the coaches as well. Johan Ackerman takes over now fully. He'll basically be sort of, now that they're totally out of the runnings, the Vodacom Bulls, they'll basically be focusing on the URC. So everything to play for the players who'll be playing in that game. So you can expect a proper performance from them. Toyota Cheetahs, they need one. Disappointing last week. I think that's when they're at their most dangerous, when they've had one or two disappointing performances. But I thought they've been pretty good this season as well with Frans Steyn. But they've lost, they're quite thin at fly-off. And so it's difficult to get a team clicking or to expect a performance from a team that's struggling with the fly-off position with some injuries, guys getting a new chance and having quite a few shifts before consolidating. So much to look forward to in that game at Loftus Versfeld, but also a massive one down in the Western Cape. I mean, if JHL Western Province load their side, what do you think happens there?
Yeah, look, they maybe load their side because of the occasion. I think if I look at the order of play, the big game, the game that sets the tone for the weekend is going to be the game on Friday night because it's on the Friday. So the Sharks Pumas need to win, and they need to win strong to put them in a position to put them in the conversation. If Sharks happen to topple them, then everyone else can relax for the rest of the weekend, because then Pumas will basically be almost out, if not for sure out, because they're sitting at fifth on the log. I wouldn't like to see that happen to Mr. Johnson. What's his name again?
Doesn't that come down to bonus points, though? Wouldn't that come down to bonus points? Because the Lions, remember, the Lions playing the Griquas is also massive. That's what it all is. That's where it sort of all lies. It's Pumas, Lions, Griquas.
So what I'm saying to you is that if Sharks upset the Pumas at home, then Pumas are hard to be in the conversation, because at best they can get 2 bonus points, which means that puts them into 4th spot just by 1 point. They have to win on Friday night to set the tone for the weekend. If they win, everyone else is on tenterhook. Everyone else is on is on pins and needles, because then they all have to get results. If Sharks do a favor to the rest, if Sharks win, they're doing a favor to the rest of the top 4, because then it's just about 1 or 2 bonus points to put them back in the conversation. If Pumas win, everyone is on tenterhooks. Everyone can be upset. Even Krikwas can get out of the top 4. So then if Pumas does the business basically on the Friday night, then we have a situation whereby Bulls and Cheetahs, are the last game on Saturday. They have to sit back and watch, at least when it gets to them, by Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, 7:05, they know what they need to do to get into the playoffs. Yeah. So the weekend gets set, the tone gets set on Friday night by the Pumas and how they do against the Sharks in Durban. And then that sets the tone for the weekend. And then obviously the derby starts off the Saturday, which then is a scramble for who finishes where and who finishes in the place for a home semi. And then it continues with the Lions and Griquas and then the Bulls and
Massive.
Cheetahs know what they
Massive
need
one,
to
that
do.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
massive one, that one. What again? You know, a lot of people are saying. I saw a couple of videos as well of people referring back to the golden days of the Currie Cup, where you saw, you know, the Skalkburgers, etc., playing, and them becoming Springboks through that competition. Some of them just before even, which, you know, was a very juicy time. But people need to understand there's so much rugby now, and the game is so modern now. The Currie Cup has been watered down for quite some time, but now. And I think one of the biggest things they did this season, was the scheduling. The scheduling right down to this final weekend has been spot on. From how they started it off with the derbies, the North-South derby, the derby of the final last year. It was just the first game of the Currie Cup being the SA Cup final as well, between the Suzuki Griquas and Ailing Pumas. It was just it has been perfect, and every single round, I think it's also allowed the sides who are new, the dark horse, the Sanlam and Cavaliers, having 4 games at home, you know, playing those games in a row at times. It's been
And the
awesome.
crowds there have been brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah, and the Fidelity ADT Lions now, for me, some people are saying they could be the favorites. I don't know. I think there's something in the water at the Lions. I'm not sure if seeing their performances the last 2 weeks, where they have had a couple of URC players, to be fair, I'm not so sure. They get the better of the Griquas.
Yeah, look, for me, if I make an outside prediction nice and early in the week, I do kind of see all 4 away teams coming out on top. That's a big call without seeing what the teams are and what the odds are. But as an early outside bet, I would go for all 4 of the away teams winning. But the only one that I would kind of be two-stepping about is the Lions at home. I think Lions at home are very good. I think they're very good at home. I do think Bull Lions gets one up on Province, hopefully, unless Province stacks their side, and similarly goes for Bulls and Cheetahs. I do think Puma, and I hope Jimmy Stonehouse and the boys pull it together, even though I'm a Sharks, black and white all the way. But I would like to see the teams that deserve to be in the playoffs, and Pumas is definitely one of them.
Mate, I didn't know. Now you mentioned you're a Shark now.
What do you mean, Chief?
Deep underwaters, buddy. Deep underwaters before this last round.
I can be from nowhere else in the world. It may look like that I'm spending a bit of time out here in the Western Cape, but I'll never change my colors. It's black and white all the way, Fudge.
You haven't been as proud about the black and white, the Sharks, as you've been about Arsenal, though, mate. There's some question marks about your loyalties, buddy. 2 wins, all of a sudden now, he's a Shark supporter.
Whatever, Fudge. I took it on the chin.
The things you're doing for KZN, Mr. Masuku.
I took it on the chin when the Bulls chowed us in that first round by a hell of a lot of points. I'm just happy to see that we've kind of, clawed our way back a little bit, even though we're out of the Currie Cup. It's all well and good, but we've caught a couple of binds along the way. You guys chowed us, Bulls 64-0. Lions chowed us 46-5. That was just in the first 2 rounds. So we've got better and better. But as I was saying, all 3 of the biggest clubs, provinces in the Currie Cup history are all out of the running. And now we feast on the next 3 weeks of Minnow Provinces rugby and see who can lift the trophy.
One of the most exciting, if not the most exciting, Carling Currie Cup seasons ever. I can say that with my chest, I think. Because of, the jeopardy before the last round. This is what tournament rugby is all about. Congratulations to the guys who've had to dig deep and back their guys. The work they've done with the Varsity Cup players, for instance, over the last couple of years shows, some good under 20 players, best under 20 players in the world for the first time in years. They met their match over there. They seemed a little bit off the tempo in senior rugby, which just shows you how far they're going. They're below the cream of the crop with such a massive Springbok squad, right? So congrats. Keep your eyes on it. It's an exciting one. I cannot wait for the weekend action. Let's talk about a couple of other, what can I say, exciting times as well. F1 has been really, really awesome. The PSL has been amazing. Another, I'm a horsey. Come on, where's Pirates? Where's Pirates? won 3 in a
Yep.
row, so they're back in the conversation. But
We also
things are
won.
looking
We
a bit
also won.
dodgy. Yeah, and the US Open's been quite interesting as well. But let's start with the F1, mate. Piastri.
Yeah. Piastri seems to have thrown it up. There's a couple of races left, but the boy is looking good. I must say, I did back a bit of Norris to take him this past weekend and at the beginning of the season. But the boy Piastri, the young man looks too good. He looks the part. Obviously, Lando didn't end up finishing yesterday, so Piastri's got all the points. So he's widened that gap up at the top. I don't see him letting go of that gap. Max Verstappen got up there, and we had a veteran on the podium, Hadja, the Frenchman, the new kid on the block. He got third on the podium there, and his first podium ever. So yeah, it was an interesting race. A lot of crashes. Both Ferraris were knocked out of the race. So Leclerc and our man Lewis Hamilton not looking so great.
And what's happening there? You think they'll be able to make a look? It's expected, right, to have a bit of a season of sort of transitioning. You think you reckon next year they'll be a lot better?
I think they will be better next year, Fudge. How much better? I don't know. Will they be able to catch the McLarens? I doubt it. Will they be able to get 1 or 2 podiums? I predict they will. So I do think they'll improve. But in short, I think Piastri's got this one slowing up.
Nice one. Okay, nice one. PSL, Makosi for life. Good times if you're a Kaizer Chiefs supporter. How long will those good times last?
I don't know. Kaizer Chiefs supporters tend to be very loud at the beginning of a season. The same guys that support Kaizer Chiefs usually support Man United. They usually have iPhones and they usually drive BMW.
How dare you?
So I'm not sure what's going on there. They're very quiet about Man United, but with all that's happening, they're tied top of the log. They haven't had a goal scored against them. Kaizer Chiefs are looking very good. Skirkune and Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns make up the top 3. Orlando Pirates came through with the victory last night, yesterday afternoon, 3-0 against Chipper United. And congratulations, Kaizer Chiefs. They beat Golden Arrows away from home, 1-0. They were expected to do so with some nice odds there of 5-10. And then Mamelodi Sundowns obviously then put one away against Stellenbosch away from home. They also were expected to do that with favorite odds of 7-10. Same as Pirates against Chipper away from home, also expected favorites at 3-10. So no real surprises come the results there. But definitely Kaizer Chiefs are looking like the form side and a lot better than they did last season.
Yes, I love that. That's fantastic. We'll end it off on that positive, man. That's a goodie. That is a goodie. Keep your eyes on the PSL. Interesting times there as well. US Open, mate.
Yeah, US Open is full of controversy. A couple of people throwing their toys out, a couple of comments after the match. I'm sure we saw the Taylor Townsend situation against Ostapenko, where she spoke about her not having an education and this and that, and then wrote 1,000 apologies after it, saying English isn't her first language. So yeah, that bordered a bit on the side of I suppose chit-chat about race and education and where you come from and insulting people and so on. But I think in the heat of the moments, these kind of things do happen. I don't think I'd like to think she didn't mean it in such a sordid way that it came across, where it insulted a lot of people, insulted cultures, Look, at the moment, I've never seen so many black women in a major tournament in my entire life of existence. I think there could be upwards of 10 of them playing. So they were all asked in their press conferences, whether it's Naomi Osaka, Coco Gauff, they were all kind of asked their thoughts on it. They gave their thoughts. She's did well. She made it further than she's ever made it in singles because she's traditionally a doubles player. But unfortunately, last night she went up 6-1 in the first set and ended up being knocked out. Being knocked out by, I think it was Herchikova in a 3-set match. So
Hey, mate,
all that
so
hype has come and gone.
yeah, look, you speak about hype. Just on that, so I don't know what kind of a sportsman you are. Are you the one that kind of likes to celebrate? Because it does add pressure to the situation. It adds another dimension or to you as an athlete, right? When you're dealing with that, it's the mind games. I love it. You see a lot in cricket, right? The chirps behind the wicket. So it's yeah, I think it's great for the game. I love it when people want to express themselves. I don't think it's easy to express yourself. I think it takes quite a bit to be gregarious in that manner. You do sort of put yourself out there. You think of guys like Henry Pollack. It's either you hate him or love it, sort of a thing, right? So yeah, I can see the pressure it puts on other players, and also I can see sort of how it unlocks certain things in the way she performs and maybe puts pressure on herself as well. Maybe that's what the result yesterday says. But anyways, I think it's everyone's responsibility at the end of the day to be able to control their emotions to such a degree that at least when you're choosing words, physical action is something else. It was like hectic Haji Baji, speaking of the Currie Cup, down at the Toyota Cheetahs, the middle of the country enemies over there, Griquas versus Cheetahs. It got heated between the wingers and everything. Prince Nkabinde was at the thick of things. What a performance. Check out how aggressive he was in contact. And the Griquas wingers sort of stood up to it. But in terms of words being exchanged and everything, there's a little bit of control there, and I think that's where things can be taken very personally. So look, I'm glad there were apologies, and I'm also quite happy that these kinds of things are being, put out there. We're speaking about it all the way down here in South Africa, and whenever there's a conversation about something like this, and it's all over the world, I think it only makes things better. It allows for at least an opportunity for you to check yourself, give yourself a little acidity test. So yeah, man, nice one. Yeah, more drama, more interesting things coming up, of course. What are you looking forward to this coming weekend? What sticks out for you?
Yeah, look, I just to get back to your conversation shortly, I think I agree with you. I like a bit of edge. It brings attention to the game. I think there's a line though that shouldn't be crossed. I don't think Ostapenko was trying to cross that line. To be fair, I just think the delivery was bad and the pointing of fingers and the comments about education didn't come across right. But you're right; it's put a lot of focus on the women's game and the major, which is great. Um, uh, um, and so any sort of thing to add edge to the game. McEnroe did it back in the day by smashing rackets. It's happened earlier in the ATP, this tournament. This incident has brought more eyes on the situation. So all to it, as long as there's a line that's not crossed, people are respected as human beings, then I'm all for it. I'm all for a bit of edge in any sort of sporting environment. Moving right along, the other thing we can't leave out, Tristan Lawrence won the DP World Tour this weekend in Switzerland. Great victory, his first victory on the European Tour. What a beast of a golf player. And that shows the state of South African golf. And I'm happy for Tristan Lawrence. He had a very emotional acceptance of the trophy there yesterday with his wife and the presser afterwards. The guy could hardly talk. And we love that for SA Sports. Tristan Lawrence and the box did a good thing for us this weekend.
No, 100%, 100%. Speaking of then, okay, so before we talk about something to look forward to this coming weekend, for you, what was your standout moment then this past weekend? The Stopper free kick, the women box, historic qualification to the next round for the first time ever, or Tristan Lawrence with his first ever.
Yeah, look, if you want me to put it in order, sheepers, that's tough. I had to say the women box make history, women's sports for the
up. You're under pressure there, mate. You passed the test.
I'd have to say the women box. I'd have to say the women box. And I really have to say, yeah, definitely the women box, followed by Tristan Lawrence. Very happy for him. And believe it or not, over the Masuku moment, I'd have to say that Liverpool free kick was ridiculous.
Yeah, over the Masuku moment.
Yeah,
such a
because
fair guy. You're actually a fair person. Fair person.
Yeah,
I thought
look, as a Sharks supporter,
Yeah, you're showing some good loyalties, and then all of a sudden you let the black and white down again. You know, but that's consistent though, how you've been over the last couple of months, buddy. All good.
No, but look, fair is fair. That free kick was ridiculously good and such a high tempo game. Probably the top two teams in the Premier League on paper at the moment. Liverpool deserved the 3 points. They absolutely, that was a cracking goal. That goal deserved the 3 points. Not that Liverpool does. That goal deserves the 3 points, which in turn means Liverpool does.
They need to find a way to play Saka and Madueke together, because when that happens, when that occurs, mate, oh my goodness. Oh,
I
my
like
goodness.
a bit of Madueke too.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
We did miss Saka yesterday.
Yeah.
But Martinelli also needs to keep his head up.
Yeah, Martinelli, watch out, because I think that's the only spot Madueke will fit into.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Saka returns, because he's looking good.
Yeah. As for the coming weekend, Fudge, you're asking me earlier, we can't turn away from Auckland Park, the Box versus the All Blacks, Saturday morning. It's going to be an absolute cracker. And that's what the weekend for me is all about. And that's all I care about.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. I'm not sure there are many South Africans who care about much more. The women box, of course, in the quarterfinal will be massive. Building up to that. We'll chat about that as well. But finally, the wait is over. Let's go to Auckland Park. We had records broken on our home turf, right?
Yeah.
They unlocked us at Ellis Park. Let's return the favor. Let's return the favor. Let's get a bit of our own. So, hey, man, nice chatting. Sports Sangoma, vibes and victories. We got through it. Some amazing vibes, some awesome victories. Women box, thank you so much for an amazing Women's Month. Cherry on top right there. And it's springtime. Huh? How's about breaking some records?
Spring has sprung.
Yeah, spring has sprung. How's about we spring on some records coming up this weekend? So, see you soon. Dago.
Fudge. Cheers. Vibes and victories, boy. Stop the recording then.
Okay.
I think it was fine for a Monday morning.